Well, today a group of lawmakers from across the country will be headed towards downtown Detroit. They are part of a group called NewDeal. Michigan State Senator Mallory McMorrow is joining us this morning to talk about this summit and what it means for Michigan and Detroit. Good morning.
Good morning. It's so exciting to be here.
Yes, thank you for being here. So what is the NewDeal for people that may not know?
The NewDeal is a national organization of local and state leaders from all over the country who are selected because they are the future of the Democratic Party. They are prioritizing getting things done, being pragmatic, and leading where it matters most, which is at home.
So what is this going to do as far as putting Detroit and Michigan on the map?
So Michigan, I think, shocked the country last year when 2022 Democrats took control of the full state legislature. And as we think about what leaders are doing all around the country, this cements our place on the map for what the Democratic Party looks like moving forward.
And so is it going to be mostly Democrats then getting together in downtown?
This is, yeah, this
Okay.
is a Democratic summit, but leaders who really focus on, I think, kind of breaking out of the stereotypes of what Democrats are. We are pro-growth, we are good for the economy, and we work on solutions that benefit everybody.
And part of working on solution comes with that COVID funding that a lot of states got. And that's something that I understand these state senators from all over, or lawmakers from all over, are going to be looking at Michigan for that, correct?
Exactly. This is about how we use American Rescue Plan dollars and Bipartisan Infrastructure Act dollars. And what's key to remember is these are our taxpayer dollars that we're receiving. And if we don't use them in an appropriate way, then they go back and they likely go to another state.
So how has Michigan used that funding then, just to name maybe a few initiatives?
We've done a lot of really innovative things. In Oakland County, Executive Dave Coulter launched Oakland 80, which is trying to get 80% of Oakland County residents a post-secondary degree. So that includes counselors, career navigators, and we've helped more than 700 people start on a new career path. In other areas like Grand Rapids, the mayor there has really led an issue to end homelessness, to open more homeless shelters. And that's a lot of the innovative ways. That really depends on what your community needs and how we can best bring down these dollars in a way that solves real problems.
Now, it's actually quite interesting that you're here with us this morning, because earlier this morning we actually had our political correspondent for Scripps, Joe St. George, telling us a story about how we're trying to manage this debt ceiling that's been in the news a lot lately, and that Republicans are actually proposing that states give back the money that they still have left over from COVID funding, if there is any left over on hand. How do you feel about this? Is this something where we should be spending this money quickly and still investing this into the economy? Or should we give it back to help with the deficit that the U.S. is facing right now?
I mean, it's sort of a laughable solution because that is a small band-aid to what the national debt ceiling actually is. And again, these are our taxpayer dollars that we already spent. We all pay federal taxes. And these were dollars that were allocated back to the states for us to be able to get out of the COVID-19 pandemic in a really effective way so that we can come out with a stronger economy than we went into it.
You and the Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist are going to be opening this summit. Is there anything that you're looking to drive home with these other lawmakers?
Something that we're going to drive home is that you need to focus on what matters to your community. I think no matter what party you are, we're always looking for the singular message. What's the one message that's going to drive voters? And the truth is there isn't something that is one message. It's all about, do you know your community? Are you solving problems? Are you listening to the people who you represent? And that's a really tough thing to wrap our heads around, but that's why Michigan was so successful in 2022 and what I think people around the country are going to be excited to hear.
Now, I gotta ask, a lot of people, there were some rumors swirling about you, about heading maybe to Washington, D.C. You kind of put those rumors aside and said you'd prefer to be in Lansing. Why is that? Why would you like to be more of a state representative compared to taking on a bigger national level, what some people might consider bigger?
Yeah, you know, first of all, it's frustrating when we call that higher office. It implies that that is a promotion and it devalues what we do on the state level. The reality is state legislators are going to impact your everyday life in a much more meaningful way than anything that happens in Washington. In Lansing, we are tackling gun violence, we are funding education, we are cleaning up our drinking water. And we actually get to do that work here. So it's not about a title, it's about what we actually get to do for people. So I am exactly where I need to be.
Well, that's good to hear. Now, one other thing that you've really been focused on is climate change, which is also a huge issue. What have you done in the wake of just a lot of things that have been happening with that torrential rainfall, with infrastructure a couple summers ago? It just kind of seems like we can't get the leg up here when it comes to climate change.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important point because climate change is an existential global threat. And I think to a lot of people, it can seem too big. But the impacts of climate change are your basement is constantly flooded, your power goes out, your gas bills are too high because we're still reliant on other countries to put gas in our cars to get around. So as a Democratic majority, we just introduced legislation to really bring those costs down, to make sure that we are increasing renewables here in the state of Michigan, that we are generating our own energy so that your power isn't going to go out, so that your basement isn't going to flood, and that you don't need to rely on the price at the gas pump to get to where you need to go.
Well, Senator McMorrow, thank you so much for explaining what the New Deal is for us and just explaining what you've been doing in Lansing.
Thanks, Allie.
Of course.